we will begin. We're on. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, wherever you are, wherever you're watching this. We are on. We're live streaming. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on TikTok. And we're also streaming on X. The crux of this live stream, ladies and gentlemen, is a critical warning It's a critical warning for London on the 13th of September 2025. Now, there's a protest, counter protests. There's a lot going on in London on the 13th of September 2025, which is like this week. Also, as a backdrop, as I'm making this live stream, excuse me, there's a critical event at Heathrow Airport. Heathrow Airport's being evacuated. It's very difficult to understand what's happening. There's been a potential chemical threat or something. So I am going to keep everybody updated on what's happening there. But the crux of this live stream, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a critical warning to London on the 13th of September. What I'm going to talk about now is I'm going to talk about likely danger points. I'm going to talk about what you can do to mitigate those circumstances. And then I'm going to talk about a likely attack and what could be a perceived threat, what could be an attack, and what that would look like. I think when I do that, though, I'm going to have to jump over to when I start on that. Hang on, what's going on? When I do that, though, I think I'm going to have to jump over to YouTube, because that will get a little bit gruesome and a little bit gory. But listen, guys, before we start, can you do those things that help this channel grow? The like, follow, subscribe button. Whether you're watching on TikTok, I believe the buttons are up there. If you're watching on YouTube, the buttons are down below. Just hit that subscribe button. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's just get into this. So, excuse me. I am going to monologue for a little bit here, guys, but there's no shortage. There's no shortage in the world of examples of attacks in city centres. There's no shortage of attacks in around the world at the moment. Just like recently today, there's been a shooting there's been an incident. I've got to be careful what I say while I'm on TikTok. There's been an incident in Eastern Jerusalem. Now, the reports on that are that 6 people have transcended to beams of light. So what we understand is, guys, look, doesn't matter where in the world you are, even places that have a really high level of security, these things still happen. Now, the crux of this live stream is going to be a critical update, a critical warning to London for the 13th of September. Guchon on TikTok is saying, what's your YouTube? My YouTube name, ladies and gentlemen, is The Real Raven 1. I'm The Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm The Real Raven 1 on TikTok. And I'm The Real Raven 1 on X. So, ladies and gentlemen, listen, let me just get into this and then we'll get on to the chat. So I'm going to monologue now. So I'm going to apologize in advance because I won't be able to get all the comments, guys. I'm just going to go on with this, okay? So let's give you guys a situation update. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, on the 13th of September, 2025, London is going to see 2 major protests. There's going to be the first protest, which I believe will be the biggest, which is going to be the Free Speech Festival. Now, that is, for you guys who understand, that's going to be the one led by Tommy Robinson. It's going to, look, guys, these locations where we're starting and the route, it may change. It may have already changed. I don't know, but the best I understand it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand it right now, this is starting at Stamford Street in Southwark and marching to Whitehall. Excuse me. There's also a counter-protest by Stand Up to Racism beginning at Russell Square and also heading to Whitehall. So now you're going to have these two factions, I guess, meeting at the same location. Excuse me. Now, these events, guys, they're going to be massive. They really are going to be massive. They've been well publicized. They've been well documented. There's going to be a lot of people going down there, creating mass crowded conditions. Now, in addition to that, you've also got, as I understand it, Open House London, London Design Festival, and the city of London is going to be absolutely buzzing at that time. Now, the alerts there, or the threat level in the United Kingdom, as I'm giving you guys this, as I'm making this video, is substantial, which means an attack is likely but not imminent. And look, guys, in my experience through working in the military in various roles, working in the security industry, working at government level, the threat level only gets raised after an incident. That's just like historically, that's just how it works, guys. Okay. Excuse me. Now, this is obviously according to MI5 and the Joint Terrorism Analyst Center. So there is I can't find any specific data on this. And of course, I wouldn't be able to find that because all I can look at is open source media, basically. But let's take the events that have just happened in Jerusalem, the 2017 event on Westminster Bridge or London Bridge. These incidents, and guys, I'm trying to be as objective as I can be. We all know what the common denominator is with these attacks. We all know what the perpetrator is. When was the last time we had an attack and they were shouting, "Hail Odin! Hail Odin, Lord of the North Seas"? I don't know. A quick first question for you guys, okay? When you think of an attack in the United Kingdom, what are they shouting? Is it "Hail Odin, Lord of the North," or is it something else? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know the answer to that. It's up to you to put in the chat what people predominantly shout. Anyway, guys, let's now I'm going to give you guys likely locations, likely strike points, I guess. Look, guys, anybody who's worked in planning, anybody who's worked at that like gold level tier, it's virtually impossible to be able to predict the locations that a potential strike point would happen. And look, guys, before I get onto this, I'm not saying anything is going to happen, but what I'm saying is there's a lot of markers that say that it could happen. Obviously, if you're going to go down to London on the 13th, please be careful. Don't take your kids and make sure you're wearing shoes that you can run in. And also, do not get yourselves drunk, guys, all right? Because that's just going to be an absolute nightmare, all right? Absolute nightmare. So, like I just said, it's very difficult to try and identify strike points. It is virtually impossible. You really can't do it for a whole host of tactical, logistical, and strategic, considerations. So it's just very difficult. So I'm going to give three potential locations. I'm going to give some generic locations, and then I'm going to kind of encompass everything. So the first one I've got, guys, and this is based on my own analysis, historical patterns, and the protest plans. So first of all, Whitehall. All right, Whitehall is the big one. It's the big red flag. It's the end point for both of these protests. They're both going to be in Whitehall. So you've got the the Festival of Free Speech, and you've got the Stand Up to Racism. I don't know how those things conflict. I mean, why can't those things work together? Why can't you have free speech and stand up to racism? I don't know, but apparently you can't because they're countering each other's protest. And look, guys, this goes for everyone, all right? This is like security advice for everyone. So my first location, and you'd be a fool not to say that the main threat area is, it is Whitehall, including Parliament Square and Downing Street. Like I said, it's the end point for both parties. There's going to be huge numbers there. It's a symbolic hub. Parliament, the heart of the United Kingdom, the heart of government. And again, you guys, you put in the comments what you think about that. Past attacks like Westminster Bridge in 2017, you've got vehicle assaults, show that it's very vulnerable. Crowds, media attention, they make it all a focal point. So number one, Whitehall, including, the Parliament Square and Downing Street, for anybody who's been to London themselves. Next one, ladies and gentlemen, is London Bridge. Now, That's where the the Free Speech Festival starts. It starts on London Bridge. Again, guys, like these locations, I may be wrong on these locations. It's very like they've changed a few times and they may change again. And I will come on to that in a second. So that's where as I understand it, that's where the freedom of free speech protest starts. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, in 2017, there was a London Bridge attack. There was, 8 people transcended into beams of light, or due to that attack, highlights its history as a target. Early protest gatherings there could be chaotic, and especially before the police really get to lock down that area. I would suspect the police have already locked that area down before they get there, but who knows? Russell Square as well. That would be where the Stand Up to Racism, I think they're calling themselves. So you're going to have this Stand Up to Racism protest, and they're going to be waving the Palestinian flags, and then it's near the British Museum. I would say that's also a likely area for a potential event. Again, like when I'm saying this, guys, like there is no way. And, I don't want to come out here and I don't want people to look back on this video and say, oh, but Sean, you said it was going to be Whitehall. Oh, Sean, you said it was going to be London Bridge. No, what I'm saying is it's impossible, literally impossible to predict where these events are going to happen. There's so many different, so many variables on this. Your attackers may not be in position in time and you may have to go. Your attackers may bottle it at the last minute. Your blocking car may not get in place. The bad guys may have to improvise, off the cuff. So many different things that come into this. Also, ladies and gentlemen, transport hubs are going to be key. Like, transport hubs going to and from this event are going to be massive locations. I mean, think about London Underground, ladies and gentlemen. Think about the 7/7 attacks in London. Like that London Underground, guys, it's a labyrinth. It's an absolute labyrinth. Like, let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. I don't really know London Underground like the back of my hand. I don't know London Underground like the back of my hand. Literally, every time I have to go through London Underground, I'm looking at those little maps at the wall and I'm asking the guy. Honestly, I'm like the worst tourist in London, and I do frequent London quite a lot. If you know that area well, that is a labyrinth, and that is like, at least your killing ground. So if you can get one of those metal things into that London Underground, that the stuff comes out of, it's going to be carnage down there, guys, okay? So transport hubs, all right? Transport hubs are going to be a massive location. And then we've got, I'm going to put in secondary sites. Now, I don't know what those secondary sites are. Like I said, it's almost impossible to predict if they're going to happen, where they're going to happen. Virtually impossible, guys, and you can't predict it. And I've worked at the highest levels of government. Now, the good news is, because it's in London, Metropolitan Police will be there. And whatever you think about the Metropolitan Police, they will be doing they are a lot more competent than other countries around the world. So they will be putting blocks in place. They will be having roads closed. They'll have undercover officers obviously armed officers in civilian clothes. I would even speculate that special forces, military special forces, will be there to bolster those numbers. And these will be guys walking around the underground. The homeless guy that you walk past on the tube and he's there coughing. That may be a special forces guy. He may have something underneath his jacket that's keeping him warm. You don't know. And that's a good thing, guys. That really is a good thing. Now, as I understand it, the Metropolitan Police are deploying around over 3,000 officers, which is going to be armed units. There's going to be snipers on the roof. There'll be helicopters. There'll be drones. All the CCTV will be monitored. It'll be monitored by the police, private security companies, MI5. Everybody's going to be monitoring London on the 13th, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what I will say is monitoring something doesn't stop an event happening. No, it doesn't, guys. It doesn't. Unfortunately, monitoring an event will not stop the inevitable. So How can we keep ourselves safe? Now, the first way to keep yourself safe is go and watch. I'm not going to do it now, guys, because I've done it. I've done it to death. Go and watch on YouTube my run, hide, fight video. I've done like, I think I've done 2 live streams on run, hide, fight. I'm not going to do it again. Go and watch that video, ladies and gentlemen. Like, scroll up or down or whatever through my YouTube and you'll get run, hide, fight. Now, the British in the United Kingdom, the advice that people give you is run, hide, tell. I would never teach that, ladies and gentlemen. I actually got asked if I wanted to teach this at government level in the United Kingdom. I said, no, I'm not teaching anyone to run, hide, and then tell. It's just ridiculous, guys. It's run, hide, fight. And anybody who's watching this video or claims to be a subject matter expert, if they want to tell me run, hide, tell is the correct protocol, I am happy to debate you live, one-on-one. But I'll just warn you, you're gonna have to get up pretty early in the morning because it ain't gonna be a good day for you. So I just want to reiterate now a few things, the generic things now, guys, all right, where you can keep yourself, you can keep yourself safe. So if somebody was to ask me, if I was working, I don't know, if I was working in the British Embassy, when I used to work in the British Embassy in Baghdad, if the ambassador came up to me and he's like, right, Sean, I've got a meeting out in, I don't know, Sada City. If you know Baghdad, Sada City is a really, really bad place and you just don't go there. In fact, I would just cancel that anyway. So that's kind of a bad example, but you get where I'm going. If he came up to me and said, Sean, I've got a meeting outside of the green zone. I'm going on Wednesday. Can you sort it out? My first response to him would be, does it have to be there or can they come here? Avoid the risk, guys. All right. Avoid the risk at all costs. Now, I get it. You're going to want to go down there. You're going to want to go and show your support. So maybe to some people, that's not feasible. You can't avoid the risk. So I'm going to say, if possible, and you're not going to that event, steer clear of that event. Steer clear of Whitehall, Parliament Square, all the main transport hubs, anywhere on that route. Literally, guys, just stay clear. Now, when that protest peaks, you don't want to be anywhere near that, guys. You really don't. Skip crowded transport hubs. If you're going down to that event, and this is what I got very suspicious about this. I got very suspicious because I've been watching all this. And again, I'm not saying anyone's doing anything. I'm just saying it's very suspicious how articulate people have been, the event organizers, saying, you need to get off at this tube station and you need to walk on this route. To me, that doesn't sound, it just seems a little bit, to me, it seems you're corralling people too much. And when you know where people are going to be, it's very easy to put a strike on that because now people know where people are, now the bad guys, whatever bad guys you think are, now the bad guys know that people are going to be walking in a certain direction. They know where to put their events. Let's just call it events, guys. We'll call it events. So avoid is best, guys. All right. If you avoid risk areas, you're not going to, you're not going to become, you're not going to be transcended into a beam of light. Now, next thing, guys. Okay. Plan your route. What I'm going to say about this is, obviously, make your own decisions. But if it was me and I was going down there, if it was me and I was going down there, I wouldn't listen to the advice. I wouldn't get off on the tube stations that people are telling me to get off on because everybody's going to be getting off on those tube stations. And if you're a bad guy, you can stand outside that tube station and you can think, right, okay, I want to commit trouble. That's where I'm going to do the trouble. Because I know that everybody's getting off this tube station. So maybe it's better to get off a couple of stops before and just walk down. If you've never been to London, guys, like the tube stations are not that far apart. I just think it would be better to get off the tubes, get off the whatever the stop is, a couple of stops up, get off a couple of stops up and walk down. You're going to blend into the normal flow of traffic. You're going to blend into the normal civilian population. Don't wear your union flags all over the place, guys, all right? Wear your union flags or whatever you're going to wear at the protest, and you're at the march to show your support, absolutely fine. Just wear a jacket on your way home, guys, all right? Look what happened to the poor Ukrainian girl in America. Unbelievable, guys. Absolutely. It's just unbelievable and disgusting. And slightly off topic, I watched a video earlier of a man picking a 2-year-old baby up and throwing that baby on the floor. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I may get the live stream banned right now. I'm pretty confident if I saw that, I don't. Was a spider, now it's not. I'm pretty confident, ladies and gentlemen, if I saw that man pick that baby up and like slam the baby into the floor, I don't think that man would recognize his own face when he woke up. I'm just saying, guys, all right? It drove me absolutely crackers. Absolute crackers, guys. Sorry, I'm digressing. The crux of this live stream, ladies and gentlemen, this is a critical warning. If you're going to the protest in London on the 13th, lots of data points, so many things. There's going to be a lot of people corralled. I'm talking about likely strike points and just some generic information on what you can do to keep yourself safe. All right. So we've just talked about planning your route. Also, plan a secondary route. Right. Don't go to the tube station that everybody else is going to, guys. Please, don't be that guy who follows the crowd, because you know who else is going to be following the crowd? The bad guys. The bad guys will be following that crowd. Again, if there is an event. So always have a backup plan, have a backup exit, have a backup tube station, have a backup muster point. So you say to your friends, your family, the group of people that you're going in, right, listen, guys, if we get lost or separated and we have no communications, everybody meet up here. That's fine. That's it. Done. It's done. Everybody meets up there. You're going to find each other. Do you know what happens if you don't have that meetup point? Everybody is 4 sheets to the wind. You don't know whether your wife, your girlfriend, your son, your daughter, your kids, your dog, you don't know what's happened to them. And that is added stress, and added stress leads to bad situations. Okay. So I think we've covered plan your route. Stay informed. Now, when I was thinking about how to stay informed, you really do have to go with the, keep your alerts turned on your phones, guys. Honestly, I don't know, so many people are turning these alerts off their phones. I don't know why you would do that, but it's up to you. Stay informed. Now, always stick, if you're going to make your decision and it's going to be a critical decision, don't use social media, guys. All right. Social media is great if you know what you're looking for. It is. It's fantastic. If I'm looking for something on social media and I know what I'm looking for, I may be looking for certain soldiers with a certain type of camouflage, carrying a certain weapon with a certain type of boots on. I can identify that. What we can't do is take social media at this time. We can't take social media at this time as a reliable source. We just can't, guys. All right. And I'd never say to take social media in the times of an emergency as a reliable source. Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Take that as your, if you want to and you believe it's credible, that's on you. But as generic advice, I would always say go with the reputable outlets. Know your protocols, ladies and gentlemen. Know your protocols, which are run, hide, fight. I'm not even going to touch that right now, ladies and guys. I've done like maybe an hour and a half live stream just on that. So if you want to think about run hide fight, go back on YouTube, scroll up or wherever it is, and you'll find it somewhere. Just watch that live stream. I cover all the points and answer your questions as well. Excuse me. Report suspicious activity. This is massive, guys. You know the Ariana Grande in Manchester? That security guard didn't want to report that guy because he didn't want to appear racist. Seriously, that's open source, guys. That is literally open source. Nobody's denying that. The security guard, in that instance, didn't want to confront that guy, didn't want to report that guy on fear that he would be called racist. So, report as if you think something suspicious, like a man or a person, whatever that person you're thinking about looks like, that's on you. Me personally, I'm thinking like of a Norse, like a Nordic, 6'2", blonde hair, blue eyes, and he's shouting skull. That's what I'm thinking of, guys. If you're thinking of something else, that's on you. Report this, guys. All those little reports will help the police put together a picture, and then they may be able to act on it, or they may not. Reports suspicious act. Stay calm, ladies and gentlemen. All right, stay calm. I do talk about this in my Run Hide Fight live streams, but stay calm. I can't tell you how critical that is. Stay calm. And if all else fails and you're hearing things go bang, get on your belt buckle. Trust me. Get low. Get on your belt buckle. It will. If somebody was to say to me, Sean, I'm going to be in the middle of an attack. In 10 seconds, what advice could you give to me? I would say, get on your belt buckle. That's it. I literally get on your belt buckle. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, right. I've done all that now. What I want to do is I'm going to jump over to YouTube, and I'm going to talk about not what I would do. I'm going to talk about a potential attack. Now, I'm going to talk about what I think worst case scenario could be for London. Now, this is going to be a coordinated attack. It's going to be a multi-dimensional attack. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to give references, but I think, in fact, I'm pretty sure when I start talking about that, it's going to get pretty gruesome. So I might just close the TikTok down now and jump over. I don't know. Let me just get some questions on TikTok and I'll jump over. So we've covered that, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to get some questions on what I've just said. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a critical warning. London, 13th of September, 2025. I'm not saying anything's going to happen. What I'm saying is there's a lot of people going to be in London. And if you're going to do something, you do it then. Right, let me jump up, guys, and get some of these. I'm just going to start from the bottom, guys. The chat's been going crazy on TikTok. Lee Shrimple is saying, should we be worried about the lack of police in the rest of the country on the 13th of September? No, I wouldn't be worried about the lack of police, but I think what you're alluding to there is maybe this could be even a bigger attack with something happening in London, something happening in Manchester, something happening in Birmingham. I think the police have got the numbers. They're going to be calling people in for overtime. They plan for contingencies. Well, you'd like to think they plan for contingencies like this. So I don't think the police in numbers right now are going to be that much of an issue. If there's a prolonged event lasting 2, 3, 4, 5 days, Yes, maybe. But right now, as it is, I don't think the police numbers is going to be an issue. But yes, of course, there's a risk of things happening in other places. I just want to focus on London, though, guys, right now. So Joe Will, 2004, is saying, does this have anything to do with the mass casualty facility that's been popping up? I would say not, because that's not come online yet. But, you know, I think everything is connected. I think the government in the United Kingdom are expecting a mass casualty event at some point. Otherwise, they wouldn't be spending money on preparing for a mass casualty incident. So I don't think it's controversial saying that the government are preparing for something that they're buying kit and equipment for. I don't think so. Buster is saying, Raven, your thoughts on an attack more likely from the back or the very front of the protest? I can't, like, nobody in their right mind. I'm talking about me now. I wouldn't be in my right mind if I were to say the back or the front is more likely. There are so many different aspects to this. Your blocking cars may have been moved. One of your teams may have just totally bottled it. One of your teams, like if you're the bad guys and you're planning this, one of your teams may have just totally binned it and said, yeah, we're good. We're not interested in this anymore. One of your teams may have been arrested. One of your teams may have gone early. They may have just started it earlier and everybody may have to improvise. So there's so many different things that could go wrong from the bad guys operationally. So many things that could go wrong from the bad guys logistically, you know. So there's so many things that could go wrong. Like if you were planning this attack, it's almost impossible. Even if the bad guys, just for example, and I'm just speculating, I'm just total hypothetical here. Even if the bad guys had said, yeah, we're going to strike the front, that may not happen because of logistical demands or something. There may be a cock up, you know. Even if you're in the military, the no plan survives first contact with the enemy. You always have to adapt, and you always need to adapt. So I wouldn't be able to answer that question, and I would say equal amount. Coral Reef, and he's saying you become a much smaller target on your belly. You do indeed. DJ Techno Notice is saying that's a military term. Yes, it is. I spent many years in the military on my belt buckle. I did indeed. The Bomber 46 is saying, or will it? Oh, hang on. I'm trying to find the Bomber's first comment. So the Bomber is saying, all right, okay, I've got it. Or the Bomber is saying, or will it just be a protest and the 14th will come and go? I hope that's what happens, the Bomber. I really do. I hope it just comes and goes without incident. But you've got to look at the you've got to look at the landscape in the world right now. Then you look at the landscape in Europe. Then you look at the landscape in the United Kingdom, and like, so all these flags that are going up, all these protests outside hotels, do you think people are getting angry with that? Do you think there's bad people and they're getting angry and they're so angry that like their 3 meals a day in the hotel are not, they've only had fillet steak once and somebody had the audacity to bring them chicken out. Like, we have got people in this country, I believe, who are here for one reason, and that reason is not a good one. I'm just going to leave it there, guys. I've got to be very careful what I say on TikTok. Right, guys, I've got over 60 comments. I need to jump down and get the bottom ones. Oh, Kia Spammer is in the chat. Where's Kia Spammer? Right, hang on. Kia Spammer. Spammer in the chat. Right, where are we going? Hang on, guys. There's something going off with. Oh, he does it all the time. I'm gonna have to block him. There's this guy. Sorry, mate, I'm going to have to block you, right? There's this guy in the chat. He does it all the time, right? Like, rather than come on the chat, like, he just does these lines. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, I've blocked him now. He can't see me saying this. And like, at least call me out and like shout at me or call me something. I would have more respect for you than do that. It's just weird. It's just weird. Anyway, let's continue. Let's continue. Oh, hang on. Somebody said it's planned. Oh, there it is. Harrison. Let me pin this. Sorry, guys. I've not pinned any comments this evening. Harrison Alun is saying it's planned, Raven. Look, guys, so I get it. You know, people are saying it's going to be a false flag. It's going to be an Islamist terror attack. It's going to be a false flag. It's going to be the government doing this to create a civil war. You know, if you're caught in the middle of it, doesn't matter. Does not matter one little bit. The advice that I've given you is still going to be the same, all right? So I get it. You know, people are saying it may... Look, guys, let's be clear. Nothing... It may be the case, and I hope so, it may be the case that nothing happens. You know, it really... You know, I hope it's the case that nothing happens. I'm just doing this video, guys, as a critical warning. As a critical warning for anyone that's going down to the protest in London on the 13th of September. And that's anyone. If you're going down there, and I'll be honest, guys, if you're going down there and you're standing up to racism and you're flying the flag, I want you to go home to your kids. I do. I want you to go. I don't agree with what you're saying. I think you're deluded, but I still want you to go home to your kids. I really do, guys. You know, I want everybody to go home to their kids. I want everybody to go home to their mums and dads and their partners and their wives and their girlfriends. You know, we shouldn't have this. This shouldn't be happening right now, but it is. And I'm giving generic advice now that fits everyone. All right, literally, this advice, you know, fits everyone. I'm just jumping up, guys, and getting these comments. Right, loads of people complaining about the scammers. Test user is saying, thank you for even thinking about all of this stuff. Don't worry about it. Top bloke, he's saying, and thank you. Don't worry about it, guys. I used to teach this stuff. These presentations I'm giving you now, guys. Literally. Have you noticed how these words roll off my tongue like I've said them 1,000 times to 1,000 different people? You know, I've given these presentations quite a lot. You know, various parts in the world. You know, the same things are always relevant. Bad people, there are bad people out there, unfortunately, and there's always going to be bad people out there. That is the world that we live in, unfortunately. In the United Kingdom, those bad people seem to be more and more. It just is what it is, guys. We're going through a crazy situation. I do believe it will be, you know, I do believe it's got to end at some point. Now, I don't know how it's going to end, but, you know, I'm assuming it will end. James is saying, let me pin this. James is saying, is Starmer's government about to collapse? No, absolutely not. You know, lots of people are saying that Keir Starmer's going to have to resign. Not a chance, ladies and gentlemen. Keir Starmer will be in at the next election. He may be gone just before the next election, and I mean like months before the next election, but months before the next election's called. But Keir Starmer is going to be in. He's going to be the guy in power. He's got a use. He's being used. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, they tell you, don't they? They tell you what they're doing. Keir Starmer's dad was a toolmaker. Am I lying, guys? Am I lying? Keir Starmer's dad was a tool maker. What's a tool, guys? A tool is something that you use to get a job done. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, guys. Please, somebody tell me I'm wrong. A tool, I don't know. Am I going to get censored for saying a tool is something that someone uses to do a job? I don't know. People are telling us what's happening. Linda Lou, no, hang on, where's that gone? Hang on, guys. The chat's going crazy at the moment. I do apologise for not getting everyone's comment. It's going crazy. Buster is saying you will be arrested tonight now. Yeah, maybe. Can I hear a helicopter coming? I think here Starmer sent the helicopter. I'm happy for you. I'm happy today. Are you? He's saying Starmer might resign when it's time for Sadiq Khan to be Prime Minister to wind people up. Look, guys, I said Sadiq Khan could be Prime Minister. What about David Lammy as Prime Minister? I mean, is that, I don't know, is that worse? Is that better? I'm just, guys, the chat's going crazy. Chat is going crazy. Janet, hang on. Okay, so Janet is saying, Raven, do you support far right? Okay, this is one of those, again, I don't mean to give a politician's answer. So in my opinion, no, I don't support the far right at all. Not at all, not even remotely. Now, the word far right, the Overton window of far right has now moved to encompass 72-year-old nanans in pink t-shirts who are saying, protect our kids. So do I support 72-year-old nanans who want to protect their children? Yes. Does that make me far right? I don't know. That's one for you to answer, Janet. You know, it's very difficult now. You know, it's very difficult to, you know, those Overton windows have changed quite a lot. Hang on a minute. So who just put that? Somebody just put in something there. Right. Lindy Lou, let me pin this because I think Lindy Lou's trying to get a comment out. Sorry, I don't know how to reply here, but the police will be there too and won't want to get hurt. Yeah, I agree. The police won't want to get hurt, but ultimately the police will be there to do a job. Oh, look, guys, you know, whether you agree with them or not, I mean, have you seen how there was this pro-Palestine march in London and there was like 900 arrests? And if you've watched the videos, you know, you've got people spitting at the police. And it's just disgusting, guys. It's disgusting. Like, whatever your thoughts of the police, if you don't like them, fine. Don't be rude to anyone. Under no circumstances, all right, does anyone who calls themselves British have the right to be rude to anyone. That's just the way it goes, guys. If you're British, you can have an enemy and you can seek to destroy that enemy, but do not be rude to that enemy. I think that's fair to say, guys. You know, I think that's fair to say. Right, I think I'm going to jump over to YouTube now, guys. Okay, so I am going to jump over to YouTube now. I know I'm jumping over to YouTube a little bit early, but I want to talk about now what a coordinated attack with multiple attackers, multiple devices, multiple locations. I want to talk about what that could look like. Worst case scenario. So I'm going to jump over to YouTube in a minute, guys. I'm going to get a couple more comments on here. I'm going to jump over to YouTube. I'm going to talk about that now. The reason I have to jump over to YouTube is because I just won't be able to talk about it, guys. It will. I'll just get my live stream banned. 100% I will get the live stream banned. So if you're on TikTok right now, guys, and you're watching, first of all, I've not done this yet. I've been monologuing for 49 minutes. Guys, if you're on TikTok and you're watching, can you do me a real big favor? Hit those buttons up there, the like and the follow button if you're on TikTok. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, can you hit those buttons down below, the subscribe button? That really helps me out. And if you're watching on X, I've started posting more on X, actually. Can you hit those buttons that help me out there as well, guys? All right, so I'm going to get the last couple of comments on TikTok, and then I'm going to jump over to YouTube. I'm the Real Raven One on YouTube as well, if you want to go look for me there. Right. All right. Sorry, I'm going to get the comments. Saddlers are saying, what are the likelihood of it really happening? I don't know. I would say the chance of a spectacular event is low. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Well, do you know what? Forget what. Let's not think of what I think. Let's go with the government's own. Let's go with the government's own guidance. So, Saddlers, let me pin this. So, Saddlers is asking, what is the likelihood of it really happening? The government's advice, the government's threat status right now is substantial. That means that an attack is likely. So I'm going to go with I'm going to go with what the government's saying. I believe an attack is likely. Google is saying Starmer must launch Kosovo-style intervention against Israel, demands union chiefs. Yeah, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen at all. Dodsbra is saying, I think Israel, let me pin this. Dodsbra is saying, I think Israel will sabotage September the 13th and blame it on Hamas to get the British government involved. Look, guys, it doesn't matter. You know, when you're in the middle of that event and things are going bang and there's like red stuff everywhere, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. I'm giving you guys advice, you know, potential strike points and advice what to do if you're in that. If you've not watched it, guys, go over to my YouTube. All these videos are uploaded on YouTube, so you'll be able to watch it from the beginning. Crowns and Cranes are saying no kids. Yeah, I wouldn't go down there with my kids either, guys. You know, let me pin this actually. Crowns and Cranes is saying no. Crowns and Cranes is saying no kids. I agree. I wouldn't go down with my kids. Also, wear footwear that you can run in, and don't go down there and get drunk. All right, don't go down there and get drunk. Nobody needs to be in the middle of one of those events and be half cut with like a pint of Stella in your hand. That's just going to be a bad day for everyone. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down now on TikTok, and then I've just realized the time. I'm going to close it down now on TikTok, and then I'm going to be over on YouTube, and we are going to be talking about what a coordinated attack on London on the 13th of September could look like. What the bad guys, worst case scenario, what they could achieve. Right, guys, I'm going to jump over now. If you, what was I going to say? Yeah, I'm going to jump over now. I'll be back on in the morning. I'll be on in the morning at 10. If you've missed the first bit of this live stream, please, it's all getting recorded. It will all be uploaded onto YouTube. I'm going to go over to YouTube now, guys, and I will see you in the morning at 10. If you want to jump over to YouTube, guys, we're going to talk a little bit more gruesome. Jump over there. I'm the Real Raven One on. I'm the Real Raven One on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven One on X. And I'm going now. And we're off. We are off, ladies and gentlemen. We are off. Right, guys. Listen, I'm going to talk about now. I can see the chat going. I can see the chat going, guys. All right. I'm just gonna hang on, click that button. I can see the chat going. I'm just gonna monologue now. I'm gonna monologue through this whole thing, and then I'll come back and I'll get the comments. Okay. So I don't need to repeat what I've just said. You guys can just like skip back. So considering, okay, so in the business, a spectacular attack, like the most spectacular, and I don't mean spectacular in a positive fashion. I just mean in its purest form. A spectacular attack is something like 9/11. It's something like 7/7. It's something massive, multiple locations, shock and awe all over, you know, people cheering in different parts of the world. So I'm going to talk now about what a potential coordinated attack on London with multiple explosions, multiple gunmen, multi-dimensional, what an attack could look like, and potential potential emergency response. So a complicated or coordinated, it's the same thing. Coordinated terrorist attack involving multiple explosions, multiple gunmen is, they're designed to cause, they're designed to maximize on chaos, maximize casualties, maximize collateral, maximize fear, and to drag this out as long as possible and just bring that fear. That's what they're there for. And when you get these masses of people, like in London, and again, guys, I hope this doesn't happen. Like, remember when I was talking about the Oasis concert, and the assailant was actually stopped? The guy was actually stopped, and it's mainstream media. There was a guy planning an attack on the first day of the Oasis concert. It was stopped. So I'm glad that's happened. So you've got these locations where there's masses of people, crowded locations, train stations, airports, concerts, think Bataclan. These are likely places. Also, you've got to think about symbolic sites, government buildings, tourist hotspots. These are all the places that bad guys know they'll get filmed, know that media coverage will get out there, and you maximize that word terror. Now, these events are typically planned and organized, and drawing from, looking at historic events like the 2000. I don't know if you guys know about I'm assuming you guys know about the 2008 Mumbai attacks. If you've looked into this, guys, those Mumbai attacks were absolutely wild. Like, you had these bad guys going into these hotels in Mumbai, and like the transcripts, while they're saying oh, the architecture is beautiful, I've never seen a building like that. And the guy on the other side of the phone is like, yeah, do as much damage as you can. Don't worry about the architecture. It's just crazy, guys, all right? You've got 2015 Paris Bataclan assault. You've got 2016 in Brussels. You've got the, seems like relatively recently in Russia, there was, the cinema in Russia. So what I'm talking about here is, guys, where attackers used synchronized tactics, synchronized attacks to overwhelm responders, overwhelm the response teams, and then you can prolong that incident, and then you can have that, you can maximize chaos, casualties, fear, and terrorism. You can, and collateral, sorry. You can maximize all those things. So I am just going to monologue, guys, and I'll jump onto the questions in a minute. So your initial phase, again, it could be a whole host of things, but I've gone with like the initial phase. You would look to have some sort of explosions. So you've got IEDs, you've got suicide, can't say that word. You have got self-operated kaboomas. Let's just say that. Let's just say self-operated kaboomas. I hope I don't get demonetized now or get the video taken down. Self-operated kaboomas. Let's just say that. So you've got the bangs that go off first. Now, this could be simultaneously. They could be improvised. They could be hidden in backpacks. They could be hidden in vehicles. They could be hidden in bins. They could be just random bin bags left on the side of the road. These things could be remotely detonated. They could be on a timer. You're only limited to your imagination, really. Could be filled with, shrapnel, nuts, nails, all that sort of stuff. Adds to the carnage. What that is going to do is that's going to set the initial fear, the initial panic. So now picture the scene. You've got people running around in all locations. You've got people not knowing where to go because they don't listen to my live streams and they don't understand to have a secondary backup plan. They don't understand to stop, pause, react. They don't understand all that because they've not watched my videos. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, because I know you watching my videos because you're right here now. So the first initial phase, explosions, might not be explosions, could be a mix, but just to keep it simple, explosions on the first phase, things going boom all over the place. You could also have secondary locations. So when there's an explosion, people are going to run to the exit points. guess what? Guess where you have your secondary device? In an exit point. So it's going to cause carnage. It's going to cause chaos. People are going to be running everywhere. That's when I would suspect you would look to see the follow-up. Now, the follow-up would be, in this instance, in this scenario, would be gunmen. People with, it could be anything, guys. Could be AK-style rifles, could be pistols, could be anything, guys. Could literally be anything. Now, as people are in chaos, in panic, if people start shooting, it just adds to the chaos, because now people are running towards the exit, but the people at the front of the exit, there's mass crowds of people. Those people are having rounds incoming. So those people are trying to turn around and run back into the crowd, but the people at the back are still rushing. You see the fatal funnel that produces? It's carnage, guys. It's absolutely carnage. And when you do this planning over and over again, you kind of see these things and you're like, oof, yeah, I don't really want to do that. Think about another scenario where you have an amount of gunmen who are known gunmen, and then you have covert gunmen. So now you have people running around London Underground, but they don't have the long pointy things. They have the small little ones. And they're just taking, they're in the crowds of people. They're acting as a civilian, as somebody who's running with the crowds. All sorts of crazy stuff could happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going worst case scenario right now. I'm going worst case scenario. So that would be something called the follow-up. Now, the overall impact, this is to cause like multi-dimensional chaos. So something's happening in a building. You've got something happening in a high-rise. You've got things going bang on the streets and kaboom. You've got people running in all directions. You've got some people in the subway with the long things. That is like a multi-dimensional attack. Now, this will spread fear, trampling. So you can imagine now you've gone there with your kid and you're having a good time. And again, guys, look, I know I'm being cynical. I know I'm giving you guys worst case scenario, but I think it's best you get worst case scenario, what could happen, rather than being like, oh, nothing's going to happen. And again, the likelihood of this happening is low, very low, very low. But I know that there will be people who will want this to happen. So imagine you're there with your kids or whatever, and you're not used to this. Imagine you're a 62-year-old woman, and you've gone down with your kids, with your grandkids. You've gone where we're going down with it because it's a carnival. We're waving the flags. It's great. You've gone there with your kids or your grandkids. Something happens. There's a mass stampede of people. You lose the hand of your kid. Your kid's 4 or 5. What's going to happen to that kid? Are you, as a 62-year-old woman, going to be able to fight through the crowds to get that child back? I don't know. Maybe you are. Maybe you're like Super Gran or something. And unless you've seen this, unless you've seen these things happen. Now, I can think of an event in where was it? Basra. A similar event that I actually watched on a CCTV. Watched on CCTV footage. It's hard, guys. And I come out and I give you guys all these worst case scenarios because I've seen a lot of it myself. And right now in the United Kingdom, I do believe there's an amount of munitions that have been brought into the United Kingdom. I believe there's an amount that have been brought in. I don't think they're being put in crypt. What's just happened there? I've just knocked something right. I've just broken something on my chair. I don't believe these things have been brought in by, they've been put in crates in hotels. I think these things will have been brought in by people smugglers on the side of boats. These things will have been smuggled in and we don't know where they are. So I do think those munitions are already here in the United Kingdom. I do. So what's the best advice then? Best advice, all right? So your survival in this scenario really does hinge on run, hide, fight. I'm not going to touch that. I've done that to death, guys. You know, I've done it loads. I've done it in, you know, I've done it. Go back through my videos. I've done like about an hour live stream where I'm going through each one. So I'm not going to go with that, guys, but just please go and watch that. And if you don't watch my video, go and watch somebody else's video. You know, there's a lot of good videos from the United States. Not many from the UK, unfortunately. Run, hide, fight. So it's the exact same protocol, guys. I've talked about this. You know, I've talked about this. I've talked about this quite a lot, and I've done quite a lot of that. Now, after the attack, you're going to come into contact with security services. Now, I'm just going to give you this advice as if I was one of the counterterrorism, I guess, officers, operators, coming into that building. What I would want you to do. Now, if there's any of the blokes out there watching, say, you know, and what I'm saying right now is wrong, please correct me. Send me an inbox message and I'll do a whole video on it, correcting myself. But I don't think I am wrong. Remember, I've not been at that spearhead for like 15 years. So what I would say is, and I think it's fair to say, if you come across security forces, I'm talking about like guys that are clearly police, you know, they're shouting police, police, police. They look like police. They've got all the police kit on. Again, it's up to you if you believe them, all right? This is on you. Just put your hands up and stand still. Just, seriously, guys, all right? Show them your hands and stand still. They're not going to hurt you. I promise you, guys, all right? I promise you, if they're the good guys, all right, I promise you, they're not going to hurt you. They might treat you a little bit rough, but they're not going to hurt you. They're the good guys. That's a good thing. They may tie you up. They may tie you up, guys. They may tie you up. Yeah, they're the good guys. They may tie you up. Just accept it. Go with it. Don't be a dick and resist, because you're going to get hit. Right? You will get hit. If I was tying someone up, and the reason you have to tie people up, so if I was going into a room and there was like a load of people and people had their hands up, I don't know who's who. I don't know who's who. I don't know if that guy with his hands up's just thrown that weapon on the floor and he's saying, no, I'm innocent now. So I'm going to tie everyone up. I'm going to plastic cuff everyone. Everybody's getting plastic cuffed. So I've controlled that situation. So just accept that, guy. Just accept that, and you know, just accept it, and accept it. I don't know, guys. Maybe I'm saying that word too many times. Right. So I think in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've covered everything there. Now, I know this was worst case scenario, but I just wanted to go through what a complicated attack, coordinated attack. You do when you're doing ambushes, you do a complicated ambush and a coordinated. If you're an American, you say one word. It doesn't really matter. What I'm talking about here is a multi-dimensional attack. If I say complicated and coordinated, those words are synonymous, they're interchangeable. For the duration of this presentation. So I think I've gone through that, guy. You know, everything. I just wanted to talk about what a coordinated attack would look like, and what bad guys. What I can guarantee, bad guys will be planning this sort of stuff. Now, whether they pull that off. Remember, you know, we've got some of the best security forces in the world, and they'll be behind the scenes running around taking these guys down, and you'll never know about it. You know, we've got massive intelligence facilities that can take, you know, that can stop this. Now, again, I totally get it. I totally get the conspiracy theories, and I'm not going to go down that road. All I'm going to say is it doesn't matter. If you think it's these guys doing a false flag to cause this, that's absolutely fine. I don't care for this video, because it's not going to matter if you find yourself in the middle of that event. It's not going to matter. What's going to matter is the advice I'm just giving you. So that's it there, guys. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to get some comments now. I'm going to get some of the comments, and then we'll close this down as well. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just jump up a bit, and I'll start here. So John Doe is commenting from X. He's saying OpenAI's Sam Altman, BlackRock's Larry Fink, and Blackstone's Stephen Schwarzman to attend UK state banquet at Windsor Castle. Yeah. So let's just understand. The last time we was endowed with such, I don't know. The last time the United Kingdom was endowed with such fantastic guests, kind of didn't go well, did it? You know, we had the new laws on private rental. We had more. It just went wrong. So again, like, you've got to understand at these high levels, I do think there's a bigger game at play. Lincolnshire Templar is saying everyone is forgetting 9/11 2 days before too. Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah. So it's 9/11 on September the 11th on Thursday. Is it? Yeah. September the 11th, Thursday, 12th. And then obviously the 13th is on Saturday. Just be aware out and about and don't wear both earbuds. What's going on there? Right. Okay. Whatever. I'll just go with that. Silly is saying, I'm so triggered now thinking about the Nova Festival. Oh, I'm sorry for triggering you, Silly. So Silly's obviously talking about the festival, which was clearly, the festival that was attacked in Israel. That was clearly a coordinated attack on multiple, it was a multi-dimensional attack. Definitely have awareness and walk confidently. So yeah, and I'm going to use a slightly off-topic example here, guys. So the Ukrainian girl, the Ukrainian girl in America who's just been stabbed on the Ukrainian refugee who just got stabbed on the was it a bus or a train? I mean, that in itself, to me, for me, that's a case study, because where's all the white girls matter? Where's all the liberals saying white girls matter? That guy, he had so many, he was a career criminal. He shouldn't been out of jail. There's actually a liberal group right now trying to do a fundraiser, right? Sorry, I'm going off topic here a little bit. There's actually one of these liberal groups right now in America doing a fundraiser to pay for that guy's legal fees, because what he's saying is, trust me, this is what the fundraiser says. Because that guy had been let out of hospital, he wasn't to blame. I don't know. So who is to blame then? Father Christmas? Me? Tooth Fairy? They're going to blame Donald Trump? Who's to blame? Sorry, but going back to positive programming for mind, body, and spirits comment. Definitely have awareness, walk away confidently. Yeah, like that Ukrainian girl, if she'd have looked behind her, maybe should have just moved seats. Maybe if she'd have moved seats and just thought, you know what, I don't like sat here with this guy behind me, I'm just going to sit down there. You know what makes that even worse about this Ukrainian girl? I promise you guys. What makes that worse about that Ukrainian girl? She had a Black Lives Matter poster on her bedroom wall. So I don't even know what to say about that. Make any assumptions of that you want, guys. There was a picture posted earlier. This guy, again, this beautiful young girl fled from Ukraine to the United States. She sat on a bus, sat on a train, and some guy stabbed her from behind. You know, he was a black guy, and in her bedroom, on her wall, she had mainstream media reporting. She had a poster saying Black Lives Matter. So she was like, all for. I mean, maybe she went down on the knee and she was doing the fist thing. I don't even like. I don't even want to tell you guys how like just upset I am about that. Martin Quinn is saying it's a stronger person to walk away, not get into conflict. Unless you really need to get into conflict, then who dares wins. All right. What I would always say, guys, is avoid conflict. All right, at all levels. You always avoid conflict. Like if you're walking down the street and there's a bunch of guys walking towards you, they're strutting around, just cross over the street and walk on the other side of the road. Don't worry about it. All right. Don't think you've lost something. Do you know what? There's people with the sharp, pointy things, and there's crazy people out there. I mean, we just spoke about one incident where people will literally do that for nothing. Why would you risk that? Like, why would you risk that? I've seen people losing a lot of blood and transcending to beams of light, and it's not nice, so just avoid it. Avoid it absolutely at all costs. Just avoid those situations. Carolina Richard is saying, I'm sick, sore, and tired of seeing the mental health used as a get out of jail free card. Yeah, the guy in what was it? The guy in Nottingham again. Another black guy. The guy who went on the rampage in Nottingham. Well, nobody talks about that, do they? I should have used it in this presentation actually. So, the guy in Nottingham, he went on the rampage with with one of the pointy things, and he claimed mental health, and actually, turns out he was a victim. Not the people who he transcended to beams of light. Turns out that guy who was there with the sharp pointy thing, he was the victim. He was the victim. Nobody else, just him. So, it's sorry. We don't worry about. It's phenomenal to watch this, guys. It's painful to watch. Actually, it's quite painful to watch. Max Hallam is saying urgent. Hang on. Max Hallam is saying in all capital letters, urgent, engineered currency collapse incoming. Gold price is the canary in the coal mine. Paper market heavily shorted. Gold, silver use fractional reserve system. Squeeze imminent. I was reading an article earlier. I was going to do a standalone video about it. I was reading an article earlier, and it said not even an IMF bailout could save the United Kingdom. They're saying we're that far gone at the moment with our finances. Not even an IMF bailout would save us. So again, wouldn't it be great if we could have some sort of like, I don't know, like a universal, like something basic, like a universally basic income that, like, I don't know, that we had like something digital on our phones and we could like spend our universal basic income on our phone just as a temporary measure. I think all these things are heading that direction. Steph is saying most people with real mental health issues just don't want to move off the settee, in my experience anyway. And R. Louise is saying, make plans like a meeting place if you lose contact with who you are with. You would be surprised how many people don't do that. Also, have a phone number written down of somebody that's. I should probably put this one as well. Also, have a phone number of someone. Have a phone number of somebody that's not there written down. Basically, someone like someone that's not going. They're at home, wherever you're from. Oh, Louise, I don't know. Oh, Louise, I think you're from. Oh, Louise, I think you're from South Shields. I don't know, I might be wrong, but let's just say, oh, Louise is from South Shields. Have somebody's phone number written down on a real piece of paper that you can phone up. Now, that would be in the event that all carnage is gone, you've lost your phones, there's no signal, you might be getting jammed by the security services. Get to a landline, phone that person in South Shields. Hey, it's oh, Louise here. I'm lost. Can you let Raven know that I'm at the I don't know, I'm at the Blue Bull pub and I'm just standing outside waiting. Yeah, okay, no worries. You know, you've got some line of communication. Sean McKay is saying there are so-called human rights they bring up when they've been released. Chance of getting, yeah, it's unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen, unbelievable. But you know what? When they take away human rights, they're taking away for all of us, and it ruins everything for everyone. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I am going to, I think, close this down now. I think I am. Oh, Joe Wilson is saying, personally, I don't think the 80s were any better. It's no different, just different threats. You had the IRA and the Arabian Embassy siege, among others. Yes, with the IRA, they didn't want to transcend themselves into a beam of light. Right now, we have got and the IRA, Irish Republican Army, and the UDA and the PIRA, we're the provisional IRA. Sorry if there's any of you guys watching, I do apologize. So with the IRA, they wanted a specific. The IRA wanted a specific goal in Northern Ireland, whichever way you want to look at that. With the threats we're facing now, I just think they want to cause carnage and they want to take over the whole of the country, the whole of the world, actually. Lord of Langwiths is saying satellites are the key if war starts. If they start going down, we know we are buggered. Yeah, if a big war starts, the first wars will be in space. Right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I am going to close this down now. You guys have been fantastic. I just wanted this to be a critical warning for London on the 13th of September. Now, hopefully nothing will happen. Hopefully. I just wanted to say, when you get this amount of people packed and corralled in such dense corridors, makes it very tempting for a bad guy who wants to commit bad stuff to do said bad stuff. So I'm just saying, go down there, be vigilant, be aware, try and take my advice if you can. Go and watch my Run, Hide, Fight video. It's flick through my channel, it's definitely there. And just, enjoy yourselves, have a good time and be vigilant. Just be aware though, ladies and gentlemen, right? There are bad people planning bad things. Anyway, guys, I am going to close this down. In fact, let me turn that off because I can't have a thing on while I'm going on. I am going to close this down now, guys. I will see you guys in the morning at 10. Good night.